Hello everybody, it's Pineapple here, back with another video. And so today I thought I'd take a look at a fan favorite deck that got a whole lot of really great support in the latest main set, Photon Hypernova, and that is of course Generaider. So Generaider focuses on a bunch of big bosses that do a bunch of really great things, and unfortunately has not been able to get into their XCs consistently until now. So with that, let's hop into the card by card, and I'll explain how the deck works. First up, some hand traps, Nibiru. We then have our first boss. We have Har, the Generator Boss of Storms. He's great. You can only control one, like all Generator monsters. And once per turn, if your opponent adds a card from their deck to their hand, except during the draw phase, you get to make them send a monster from their hand or field to the graveyard. They do get to choose. And when a card or effect is activated, you can tribute to Generator monsters and negate that effect, which is awesome. It's an unbelievable card. He does everything for the deck. We then have Vala. She's unbelievable. I can't believe this card exists. It lets you get into rank 9s like it's nobody's business. You can only control one, again, like all others. And once per turn, you can send a Generator card from your hand to the graveyard, special summon her from your hand or grave. And when she special summons, she lets you special summon another Generator boss from your hand, from your grave, sorry. Or hand, actually, sorry. I can't read. But this is great because, you can summon back, the card you just discarded. So she's basically a free rank 9. Unbelievable card. I can't believe this exists. 3 copies of Mardell, the Generator Boss of Light. When it's special summon, you can add a Generator card from your deck to your hand. Generator monster, sorry. Oh no, it is a Generator card. Again, I can't read. Ignore anything I say. I'm a dumbass. Mardell's great. She searches everything in your deck, which is just, great. We have 2 Utgarda. Once per turn, you contribute 2 Generator monsters, banish a card on the field, which is just unbelievable. It is targeting banish, which does kind of suck, but, he's awesome. Just another great interruption, especially when you can get 2 boss stage rolling. We then have 1 copy of Hela, who has you tribute a Generator monster or zombie, and then target a Generator in your grave with a different one than the one you just tributed and special summon it, which is great in the grind. She comes up more like turn 3 or 4, which most games don't really get you there, but, when she does come up, it's unbelievable. We then have 3 copies of Lopter. This is your best normal summon in the deck. He's unbelievable. You can only control 1. And all Generator monsters you control gain 1,000 attack and defense during your opponent's turn only, which is, awesome. And during the main phase, you can tribute a Generator, special summon a level 9 Generator with a different name than the one you tributed from your deck. This does include tokens. It's unbelievable. Lopter's fantastic. We then have 3 copies of Ash. Hand traps are great. We have 2 copies of Diviner. Diviner lets you send Entis or Vala, which is just, really great. In corner cases, you can send Lopter, but she's just another starter, since you can send Vala because she can be used in the grave. It's just another, normal summon. Additionally, sending Entis allows you to equip it onto Jormungandr with Leviathan, but we'll get to that later. We then have 3 copies of Generator Boss Quest. As you reveal a Generator in your hand, and if you do, you get to add up to 2 Generator spell traps with different names from each other from your deck to your hand, except itself, and then you put the card you revealed on the bottom of your deck, which is, pretty good. We then have 1 copy of Duster. It's Duster. 3 copies of Frostby. We don't really go into our extra deck too much, and the cards that we do go into, we don't really need 1,000 copies of them, so Frostby's fantastic. 1 copy of Terraforming, because we'll do anything to find ourselves a copy of Boss Stage. 1 Called by the Grave. And 3 copies of Boss Stage. Once per turn, if a card is added from your opponent's main deck to their hand, except during the Dealership, you get to special summon a Generator monster from your deck in defense position. And if you special summon a Generator monster from your deck during your opponent's turn, you get to generate as many tokens as possible, which is really great. The first effect is a soft once per turn, which means you can go into multiple copies of Boss Stage to get both Har and, of course, the lovely Utgarda on field. We then have 3 copies of Boss Fight. It has you activate a Generator field spell directly from your deck or grave, and then your opponent draws a card. And you can only activate it once per turn, but, you're getting an extra activation of Boss Stage, which is fantastic. We then have 3 copies of Imperm. Again, more interruptions. 2 copies of Entis to bin off Diviner, so that we can equip them onto Jormungandr and then detach to pop cards. 1 copy of Meteorologic Agitator. If it's XZ summon, you get to send a monster from your extra deck to the grave, and then you get to target monsters in your graveyard up to the number of materials this card had, and detach material from this card equal to the number of those targets in the grave, and then you get to attach the targets to it as material. And if it's sent to the grave, you get to target a card on the field and negate its effects. It doesn't come up too much, but it does matter. 3 copies of Leviathan. This card reads like a custom card. You can only control 1, and all monsters your opponent controls lose 1,000 attack and defense, which, makes all your guys even bigger. And harder to out for your opponent. You contribute this XZ summon card and then special summon a non-fairy Generator XZs from your extra deck, and then attach cards from any field or graveyard that that special summon. So it lets you attach materials from field or grave, up to the number of materials this card had. So just attach two cards to whatever you want. It's non-targeting, it's non-destruction, it's fantastic removal. We then have 3 copies of Generaider to go into off of our Leviathan. Its effect is pretty good, actually, because you can detach material, and then each player draws a card, and then each player attaches a card from their hand or field to this card, which is fantastic because it triggers your boss stage. It attaches cards. 1 copy of Underworld Goddess. Outing stuff is annoying. 1 copy of Access, 1 Unicorn, and 1 Phoenix, and 1 IP Masquerade. So with that, let's get into the games. So our first match of the day is up against Kashtira, everyone's favorite deck. They'll start with Fenrir, and they'll of course trigger Fenrir for Scareclaw. Why? I don't know. They'll go for Scareclaw here, banishing Riseheart, and then make Shang. I have no idea what they're doing, but if they're bad, that's better for us. They'll special Unicorn, which does basically nothing to us because we don't really care about our extra. We'll start with Frostbeat. They'll Ash us. That kind of sucks. They'll trigger Shang on blank one of our monster zones. We'll normal Lopter, get out Mardell. We'll trigger Mardell and grab ourselves a copy of Har. From here, they will trigger their Unicorn and blank another one of our monster zones, which stinks, but not really. We'll pitch this Har, grab out our Vala, and trigger Vala to special out Har. We'll activate boss stage. We'll overlay for Leviathan, tribute off, and they will concede because we're going to suck their entire board away, while ending on Har and Utgarda for next turn. So for our next match, we're up against Drytron, and as we all know, Drytron is, it's Drytron. It's not that great. We'll start with Prosperity, and we'll find exactly what we need, which is Vala, who we will, of course, immediately grab. From here, we will pitch this copy of Mardell. Oh, but not before we fire off Boss Quest. In order to grab ourselves Boss Stage and Boss Fight, we will special back this copy of Mardell. We'll trigger Mardell to get back our Lopter, and from here, we're off to the races. We'll overlay for Leviathan, normal Lopter, activate Boss Stage, set this copy of Boss Fight, and pass back to our opponent. From here, we'll trigger Boss Stage, we'll grab out Har, and of course, our ever lovely tokens. And then we will proceed to the main phase to allow them to attempt to play. They'll fire Duster, and truth be told, we really don't care. They'll fire Prep Rights, we will immediately Ash. They will fire Emergence for Alpha. Again, we don't really care here. They're just, trying to play. From here, we'll force them to send their Alpha. They'll pitch their Ritual. And from here, we will Leviathan in order to suck up all their guys, as well as trigger Lopter to get ourselves this copy of Utgarda. They'll Div Incarnate us, and we will Utgarda the Div Incarnate in the battle phase, and they will pass back to us. We'll draw for turn. It's nothing special. We'll fire Jormungandr in order to draw more, and fortunately for us, it is in fact a Generaider card. We'll grab another copy of Boss Stage off this Mardell after triggering Vala and walk in for well over lethal. So for our third match, we are up against the ever lovely Dogmatica, and we will of course start with Frostbeat because we're just the best player, and we'll find off the top pretty much exactly what we want, which is Mardell and Lopter. We'll take Mardell here because she's both, before firing this Vala, pitching the Mardell, and triggering the Vala to grab back our Mardell. From here, we'll trigger Mardell, we'll grab a Lopter, and then we will overlay for Leviathan and normal Lopter. From here, we'll activate Boss Stage. We will set this copy of Boss Fight and pass back to our opponent. We'll trigger Boss Stage, grab ourselves Har, as well as all of our tokens. We've got a whole lot of great, huge bodies, and then we'll start with Ecclesia. We'll fire this copy of Boss Stage, give them a draw, and we will then proceed to get out Utgarda. They'll grab Matrix, and this is completely fine for us as we are in complete control here. They'll fire Matrix, we'll Har this because we really don't want them to get any ads. They will fire, of course, Nadir because it's at 3. They'll grab themselves Zoa, and then we will force them to send a card. They'll send Maximus, and we will grab out Mardell. From here, we will use Mardell to add another copy of Lopter. If we want more follow-up here, they'll Matrix here, and we'll just banish it. We really don't care. They'll set one and pass back to us, and we will, in the end phase, we'll suck up their entire board. From here, we'll just proceed to clean up the game. We'll normal summon Lopter and get out another copy of Vala before triggering her to get in for well over lethal, and our opponent will concede. So for our last match, I thought we'd go up against everybody's favorite Marinsas. We'll start with Frostbeat again because I'm just the best player ever. And we'll find off the top pretty much just Diviner. But this is completely fine as Diviner represents another copy of Vala. We'll send Vala. From here, we'll trigger Vala, pitch the copy of Mardell. We'll trigger Vala to get out Mardell. And then we will grab Lopter for follow-up next turn. From here, we'll activate Boss Stage, overlay for Leviathan, set this called by and pass back to our opponent. We'll trigger, of course, our boss stage. We'll grab out all of our little tokens. Woohoo! Good for us. And from here, we will hope that our opponent has nothing, and they've drawn Tang because they're the best player. We will negate and destroy this, and force them to have follow-up. They'll fire off Monster Reborn, we'll flip Call It By, and this will be the end of the game as they have no extenders. So, for our last match, I thought we'd go up against, everybody's favorite meta threat, Kashtira. Again, we've drawn Prosby because I'm simply the best player. They'll Ash, but we're kind of fine with this. We'll fire, of course, Foul Up, and they will imperm her, which really, really hurts. But we will set one and activate Boss Stage and pass back to our opponent. From here, we'll fire off Boss Stage. They'll Ash again, and we'll fire Boss Fight again. Since we're forced to, we'll trigger Boss Stage again and get out Heart, and we'll grab ourselves our tokens. And from here, we're kind of going on a hope and prayer here. They'll special Unicorn and activate Birth, and we're kind of okay with this. We'll let Unicorn resolve, because if they have another extender, we're kind of fucked by Birth here. From here, we'll force them to send, and they will send their guy. We will negate Birth, and they will fire Thrust, because they're just the best player. They'll grab Change of Heart. I don't really know what they're doing here, as they'll fire Change of Heart to take our Har, but it can't attack anything. We'll get our Har back in the end phase, and they will concede. I really enjoyed this deck, guys. I know that some of these matchups were a bit cheesy and sacky, but I'm looking forward to playing more of this deck, especially when the stuff gets to Master Duel. I've been really demotivated to play Master Duel lately with Tier Elements coming out, but, this has been a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you really enjoyed, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.